Hey traders, Raghee here. And in this video, we're going to take a look at crude oil. Crude oil, again, king of commodities, looking at a gorgeous macroeconomic reflationary uptrend, taking advantage really in a lot of ways. You know, we can take advantage of CL, we can take advantage of RBOB gas, we can take advantage of oil stocks, whether that be the oil services sector, the energy sector, or exploration. But everything starts with what's happening in crude itself. And so there's a really interesting level here. It's aggressive, but I do believe it's usable. And that is the VWAP that is anchored to the 1st of March. That's supposed to be a 3. There we go. To the 1st of March, a monthly VWAP. And look, just because the VWAP is there doesn't mean the market's necessarily going to hold. But it does mean we have the opportunity to observe the way in which the markets are responding to it. And once again, this is the second time that VWAP has held. It's also sitting at where the 13 exponential moving average is at. That's that yellow dot. Back here, it was sitting where the 8 exponential moving average is at. That's the red dot. And then take a look at your volume levels, okay? We've got some really nice volume levels coming in here, coming up in here, coming up in here. That's the point of control, by the way, from this anchor there. And you can see that we're having some struggles here, which is really interesting. So it's this particular zone that would be interesting for the long position, but it's this particular zone that represents where we'll likely be able to accelerate to the upside if we can take out this level just above 66. Now, you can also dial this down to a shorter term time frame and look at, for example, a 1-hour chart, a 15-minute chart, and it's the 15 that actually I'm fairly interested in. The 15 has completed a neat little reversal pattern that happens in here, and that would have been through that level of resistance. However, I know the 34 EMA on the high is going to be another layer of resistance, and we have a point of control here as well. Notice how there's a lot of gravitational pull to this area, and then take a look at all this volume sitting there as well. This would be a second chance at looking at a buy based on the 15, but it's also corresponding pretty well with that zone on the daily. So this is where I could take the daily and really dissect that daily candle to see what's happening within it. And this is that strength that's forming. And I believe once we can get through this zone, we'll likely see the continuing move to the upside, likely to 66. And that is, again, let's go back to that daily. That 66 is the level that I want to see the market run at, almost like barging through a door, running through 66. So we can build that position down here right around 65.10 to call it 65.30 and see if that market, this move, is going to take us to here and then ultimately through here. So that's how I'll sometimes dial it down to a short-term time frame. The cool thing is also I can put a pretty tight stop here. I've got a little low right there. And if we break, say, 65, so I can keep a pretty tight stop. So if we break 65, I could put a, say, 64.90 stop in there just to see if this intraday time frame can usher us into this level. Now, the cool thing about the 66, if I want to, on a short-term time frame, I can scale out and pay myself a little bit there before the market decides to go even higher. And then the remainder of my position can be based on what we're seeing here on the daily. So some neat things to work with. And look, 64 is exactly where this VWAP is sitting, where that 13 EMA is sitting. So you see how the daily and the 15 are working off some interesting levels, but I'll use the 65 area to say, look, if you really earned momentum through 65 and you're going to hold that level, I can manage this trade on a 15-minute time frame. But be able to look at a more granular level at each one of these upside obstacles, of course, support and resistance identified by both moving averages and volume. So I know it's a little bit in terms of the nuance of it, but again, imagine this. You've got 4 15-minute candles per hour, and you're able to take this one daily candle and break it up to say, hey, what's going on inside this very neutral looking candle? I think it's a lot more bullish than it is that it would appear on this one candle, but we know it's already bullish because of the double green. And that's what we're trying to do. Shorten the time frame, take advantage of the move, using a 15-minute as a trend following swing. All right, gang, hope that helps. Just a way to kind of look at that daily, see what's going on, build a position, tight or stop. I'll see you in the next update.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me